Hello. All right, looks like we're back. Hello?
You hear me?
Yeah.
Hey,
Hey.
can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't hear anything.
You don't hear me? Oh no.
I hear you now. I hear you now.
Okay. All right. So I think YouTube's trying to kick us off here. You started talking about philosophy and stuff like that.
That's right. It's the Illuminati. They're after my philosophical wisdom. They don't understand.
Yeah, I
Did you
know.
start like a new stream or something?
I don't know, man. All of a sudden, I guess my live stream just started being bad. So people are saying they can hear us both, but I got a red orange light, so it's probably on my end. I don't know. This is
Uh,
no bueno.
that's what your OBS is saying.
Yeah. Okay, we're green now. Oh, now we're red.
Mine does that sometimes too. Freaking
Yeah.
OBS.
Ugh. Let's see, now it cut off. Here, what I'll do is. Hmm. Never had this problem
Hey,
before.
I'm watching the stream right now. You look okay. A little fuzzy, but
Oh yeah.
it's still running. Yeah.
Hmm.
Wait, hold on. You hear him, right? You can hear? Yeah, James can hear you and everything. The video looks a little choppy.
Yeah. I think. Yeah. Well,
What is your
well,
what
I'm
is
getting like
the
I'm getting
dashboard
an
say?
orange, so I guess I'm just like not streaming at a great quality, which is weird because we were operating perfectly.
Yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm watching the live stream too. It looks like you said, it looks kind of choppy. It looks bad.
What is your dashboard say? Is it on like red or yellow
Orange.
or something? Orange?
Yeah. All right. How about this? If you guys still have time, we can record another little bit of it. Oh, well, now I got a green one and it's holding steady at green.
Okay.
So I don't know. Maybe it's fixed. Can you guys tell on your side? Because my live stream looks good on my end now.
Yeah, it looks fine. How do you hear it?
All right. Are we? Yeah.
Yeah,
It
it's
looks
good.
like I'm all green over here on my end.
All right.
Whew. Freaking NSA, CIA.
It's the black helicopters.
It's the choppers, man. They're coming for us.
Per- Peruvian death cults. The ch- the
No, you know what's funny?
Chicoms.
You know what's funny is that I was having a live chat with somebody like a couple weeks ago, and somebody was knocking on my door like really hard. And you know what we were talking about? We were talking about like these Israelis and like these conspiracy things.
Yeah.
And like all of a sudden, I hear a big knock on my door, and I'm like, "Oh crap!" Oh, we were talking about Epstein too,
Uh,
and I was like, "Oh, hold on, man. I think the CIA is at my door." All right, but it
dude,
looks
that
like
is some
we're all
weird
good,
shit.
man. We're all good on cue. So you were talking about the Matrix and all of that. So why don't we
Uh,
continue there?
I was saying like the main deal is like the main thing of
Hmm.
the main philosophical concept I would bring up is know yourself.
Yeah.
Uh, and you need to understand not just things you like in the world, favorite sports team, your name,
Hmm.
your parents' names. It's got to be full on know yourself, your psychology.
Right.
What is my mind? Is my mind my brain? Is that who I am? Am I my body? If I am my body, then do I have free will, or is it dictated by my genetics? And questions that lead to questions that lead to questions that hopefully lead to an answer. Now, once you understand who or what you are,
Yeah.
that'll allow you to operate in the world in a much different way. Things are a lot more clear, I would think. At least that's the
Yeah.
way I see it. That you can view these political topics and really try to get to the core of things rather than sticking on the surface to where people get caught up in team playing, and the team playing leads to you're just thinking about strategy rather than how do we help people the most. And
Right.
that's when you start seeing the quote unquote progressive TYT guys and all that stuff playing strategy, and rather than having a candidate who's actually telling us about Syria and telling it like a candidate actually talked about the OPCW reports. That's
Right.
incredible. To me, that's incredible.
Right. Well,
If you
like
want them to,
you've heard
you
of
want that
Jimmy
person
Dore,
gone.
right? Like
Yeah,
he puts out content about that, like the whole Syria stuff and how the intelligence agencies or the
yeah,
OP. Yeah, he does cover that, which is interesting. And it kind of speaks to like we were talking about, like the foreign policy stuff, which is like okay, like obviously they're trying to manufacture something so that they can convince the populace, like yeah, we need to be in Syria, duh.
yeah, yeah. And well, those guys they're really bad. I would say Michael Brooks, out of the guys who I think suck, he's probably the best on foreign policy. Uh, but yeah, for the most part, these type of stories are left alone, or something like UBI,
Right.
right?
Yep.
I didn't even I didn't even know that was like an idea you could do before I heard Yang talking. I'm like, whoa, oh,
Yeah.
everyone can
Give
just get a
everybody a
check
thousand
every month.
dollars.
It's like even though people are gonna crap on it and call it whatever libertarian Trojan horse, it's still
Mm-hmm.
like oh, that's an interesting idea. We should sit around with that idea for a second and really mull it out. Like, okay,
Right.
is this actually feasible? Can we do this? How about instead of a UBI, we just take Social Security and expand it to all ages, to where people are 18 and older or something, to where people are getting paychecks that way. Like, okay, it's like I'm trying to consider things that would probably be the best possible idea altogether. Did you get cut again?
No, I think I'm going okay.
All
Hello?
right, that might be his computer.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I think that to kind of speak to the UBI thing,
Yeah,
like I knew about it because of school. Like 2 years ago, I think it was. So I was taking a course, and it was like an economic course, and they kind of mentioned it. So I kind of already kind of knew the basic idea of it, but
yeah,
they were teaching it to me more in a Milton Friedman style, what's called
yeah,
like a negative income tax, right? Where it's like instead of if you're not making any money, then it's kind of like, well, why don't we just give you money so that you're not just kind of a net zero contributor or whatever.
yeah,
And then I heard about like this universal basic income thing that they were doing, where it's like they were giving people money to see how that worked out. And I feel like a lot of people on the left criticize it a lot. And I don't get it, because it was actually like a lot of leftists from way back in the day that, were kind of messing around with the idea. And it just happened that a lot of people on the right during like the Reagan-esque, like neoliberal time started
yeah,
picking up on that too. Cause it's like, just universally you want people to be doing okay. Like you don't want people to be out in the streets because that causes civil unrest, right?
yeah,
Dysfunctional society. So like you were saying, like universally I think people can gravitate toward the idea, but then it's like split into like how you do it, right? And
yeah.
what it's for and how you're using it like as a tool. So
Well,
if go ahead.
no, go ahead.
Okay, so I was gonna say, like, if you're coming at it from a mindset of like, well, I just want people to consume, like that's like a consumerism standpoint, right? Like it's to
Yeah,
prop up like our system. Like people, need to go shop, people need to go do this, and it's to the benefit of the owning class for
yeah,
people to be able to have money.
yeah,
I mean, that's kind of a fucked up way to look at it and to do it, but it's also still for the better good. So I'm not gonna stick around and harp away on the guy because he's taking this narrative. No, the ultimate goal at the end of the day gets the job done. Or if you're coming at
yeah,
it from the left and you're like, well, it's so people can get housing. We're gonna protect it with rent control policies and get the
yeah,
government involved a little bit to where they can regulate and do what they do, and okay, that's great too. I mean, at the end of the day, people are still taken care of. So whichever approach you take, as long as the fundamental idea of it gets implemented, everything
yeah,
else is just kind of like politics. Everything else is just kind of like, the what do
yeah,
you call it? Yeah, just like people's different ways of doing it, right?
yeah. I mean, I think the main problem why they call it a libertarian Trojan horse is because they believe it's going to cut welfare programs and gut welfare essentially to where it's just you're just getting $1,000 a month minus, someone who needs food stamps and whatnot. So I think that was their main problem with it, or why they, crapped on it so hard.
Yeah, but what's your take on welfare programs? Because my ideas on it have been kind of shifting ever since I like
Yeah.
took on this whole politics thing.
Uh, I would say like if people need help, I would want to go out of my way to help them. So whatever that means in that context, that's what I'm with essentially. But hopefully it reaches a point to where, this is going to sound bad because like I'm looking at this once again from my, philosophical standpoint or whatever, moral standpoint,
Hmm.
not really politics. So when I say something like, oh, we should make sure everyone's taken care of, food, water, shelter, healthcare, those type of things should be taken care of. Like they're gonna be like, "Oh, you communists." I'm like, "Nah." Like I'm not doing this like a political move. Like I'm saying, like shouldn't that be everyone's goal? That everyone's
Right.
taken care of.
Yeah, and
So
the betterment of society. Like,
yeah,
there's really no other
so
way to put it, and there's really nothing to it other than, people should take care of other people.
yeah,
However you do that, fucking
yeah,
that's a whole different
exactly.
thing. Yeah. Well, yeah, and I agree with you, but I also like I would add a nuance of universality. So
Hmm.
the reason I would add that is because you can easily uh, you can easily get divisive when only a certain group of people are getting the help, right? So the
Yeah,
trucker and the conservative community in the South can be like, well, I'm just propping up this welfare system for, poor communities in rural areas, but also like obviously minorities and stuff like that. So
yeah,
then politicians, like you said, can come in and they have their own agendas and stuff. So they want to get reelected. So they see, oh, I can take advantage of this, and I
yep,
can shift the narrative to be like, oh, the other, and then you get into that whole thing. So I think that instead of having a welfare system, why not do universal programs, right? Like if you look at the UK, they have the national healthcare system, right?
yeah,
Everybody is responsible to maintain that. The rich, the poor, and if the rich are reliant on that as a healthcare process for them, they're going to make sure, damn sure, that that thing is running smoothly and operating in a way that's going to be um, that's going to have
yeah,
as least problems as possible because their kids get seen by those doctors. Their kids, or their family members are treated with that medicine and those, So there's something to
yeah.
be
That's
said
a
about
good point, man.
universality, yeah, of like everybody should be taken care of, meaning everybody, like the rich, the poor, no
Yeah.
class, no, yeah. So, and that's my only
What?
problem with the welfare state.
Yeah, it's like just you know, what if a rich kid, has parents that suck, right? Right?
Right.
He's gonna inherit a shitload of money. His family's rich, but his dad sucks. His dad's, strict or, even abusive or something like that. But
Exactly.
if he has universal programs to where he's like, oh, I have free college, uh, everything's food and water is taken care of, medical care is taken care of. It's like, oh, I have more room to move about rather than okay, I have to stay stuck to my dad, otherwise I go homeless or something like that.
Yeah,
There's
exactly.
just simple practical things that seem to make sense to me.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like, and if you want to speak about freedoms, right? There's nothing more free than to be free of those things that you just mentioned, right? So like conservatives really harp away on that of like, well, freedom is the ultimate thing, and that's the American way. And it's like, yeah, these kind of things, universal things, provide that freedom. Like you don't need to be stuck to a job that is freaking,
Yeah.
horrible for you, and you hate it every day because
Hmm.
they give you health care. Well, if you remove that from the job, for one, it helps the business because the business doesn't have to deal with the pariah health insurance companies. But for two, it gives you that freedom to move about. Like, well, I don't even need that job because now the healthcare is provided to me by me because I'm paying taxes into a system that everybody's in that pool. So everyone takes care of each other. Um, yeah. It's kind of like,
It,
yeah, it's like this copacetic thing, right? It's like we're just
if
trying
you're
to.
Yeah, if you're a candidate, that should be one of your biggest like marketing tools right there.
Exactly.
Is the freedom to move about. I mean, I heard a Bernie fan talking about what you just said, essentially, where it's like, oh, you're stuck at this shitty job. The only reason you're there is for the health care. And it's like, well, if everyone gets health care, it's like, oh, I don't need to stay there to make sure I have insulin or
Right.
EpiPens or whatever, you know?
No, yeah, exactly. And I mean, you can do that with so many other things too, right? So like you were saying with the universal basic income. I mean, that's fucking crazy, but at the same time you think about it, you're like, "Oh, well, this kind of manifests itself in some positives, right? More
Mm.
people are free to pursue their enterprises, right? Like maybe people who are artistic who can contribute like more than just some kind of product, right? Art,
Yeah.
philosophy,
Yes.
that
Yeah.
kind of stuff. So that promotes that. So I can see the appeal there too, where it's like, yeah, like you want people to do that because, I would like to fucking drive downtown and see a bunch of art that I'm proud of as a citizen
Yeah.
that, my taxes went to make sure that this artist or whatever was able to do that, more paintings at the Capitol, more paintings at just stuff like that, like
I,
infrastructure stuff too.
I also want to add in like another reason why I value philosophy so much and psychology is because you can go into something like human nature. See, we'll have like dipshits like Tim Pool will
Mm-hmm.
tell you that, oh, everyone, if they get UBI, they're just going to stay home and skateboard or play video games all day. No one's going to create anything. I'm like, that's absolute horseshit. That is absolute horseshit to me. And
Yeah.
that's from I think, a miscalculation in what human nature is, essentially.
Yeah, and even if like let's say a small percentage of people ended up doing that, they still consume stuff. They still have to go eat. They have to go shop for groceries. They
Yeah.
have to go, to the park to get exercise. They have to go fucking go visit their mom, so they're going to buy a fucking plane ticket that contributes to somebody's income, that contributes to somebody's enterprise or
Yeah.
entrepreneurial venture. They're going to buy art for their apartment. It's like it's the money is really just it's I don't know. I didn't even know how to phrase it, but I think people get too tied up in that. Like, oh, fucking, my money, my hard work is. I don't want it to like go to waste.
Yeah. It even the as far as like social order goes, like they're being productive by not being criminals and like stealing my TV or something,
Exactly
right?
right. Yep.
Like that's in a way they're being productive that way by being law-abiding citizens. So
Yeah.
that's another aspect of it, of something positive like a UBI and all these other programs. It's kind of fun. Actually, let me tell you the story about an article I went over,
Yeah.
and it's a little bit off topic. I guess it's kind of off topic,
That's
but
cool.
it's
So, do you guys have the stream? Is the stream all right?
looks all right to me.
All right. Perfect. Go ahead.
Uh, so I did a video on this article about this the biggest health insurance company in America, United Health Group, I believe is their name, and what they discovered was it was cheaper to put homeless in housing rather than leave them outside as far as paying for their health care. They actually saved money by taking the homeless and setting them up in like housing complexes.
Right.
They saved like I don't know what, like $10,000 a month, I believe they saved.
Why do you think that is?
Well, part of it's like, practical things like these guys, these homeless dudes, instead of having like, home health care, they're leaving and going to emergency rooms over and over again for either they're sick or they're hungry or they're thirsty or something. They need somewhere warm to stay,
Mm-hmm.
and they're running up resources by continuously going to the ER over and over and over again, and it's just piling up. Also, as far as their illnesses, they require more treatment if they're not if they're out in the street somewhere, right? So,
Right. Also the
uh,
police factor, the fact that a lot of
police,
legislation gets passed that criminalizes a lot of homeless activity that leads to a run up in costs to enforce those things. And police officers are more I guess they're burdened more, and so they have to there's more activity that has to be paid for by the taxpayer
Yeah,
because police officers are having to do all these things.
yeah, exactly. And these for profit, they're 100% for profit insurance company, United Health Group. They're like, hey, since we took all these Medicaid contracts, because that's what they were Medicaid,
Wow.
passing them off to the United Health Group, and they're like, shit, how do we make the cost go down? Because these guys cost a lot of money to take care of, and they're
Hmm.
like, it'll be cheaper if we if we give them housing, give them instructions on how to take care of themselves, have like hired nurses or some doctors that come in every so often to check on them, and it's like, wow, look at
Well,
that.
isn't a lot of the population that aren't they like a lot of they have a lot of mental issues too? So
Exactly, exactly.
yeah, it's yeah, and that's it. That's an interesting point, man, because I can also see this though, just to play the contrarian here, but for a little bit. Well, what about their self responsibility, right? You have to have some kind of self responsibility for yourself as an
Hmm.
individual, um, because that also kind of contributes to the larger societal morality of, living together with other human beings. Is that everyone needs to contribute, and this homeless population, they're, they have some fault in it because self responsibility. You need to be responsible for yourself, take care of
Yep.
yourself
Yeah.
for the larger. I mean, what is your take on that? Like, because there is that kind of philosophical take on it too.
Uh, well, yeah. Once again, it'd fall back to like, oh, okay, know yourself.
Mm.
Uh, what are your pursuits in life? That's something to know, right?
Hmm.
So it's like, okay, what do you want to do in life? Do you want to, be a carpenter, a painter, plumber? Do you want to just be able to like, oh, I just want as much leisure time as possible and as
Right,
little
because
work
that's
time as
also,
possible?
yeah. There's all there, because it's funny because society also forces us to become, you know, society also has constraints. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
If you think about it, maybe there are people in the world who they just want to be roamers. They just want to roam around
Yeah.
and take in,
Yeah.
So and society kind of constrains that, and it almost demonizes that, and then we see them as like a leech thing and everything like that. When you're not understanding that they already know themselves, they already know, because a lot of them aren't mentally unstable. They just, that's the lifestyle they've chosen. They want to live that lifestyle. They want to be left alone. They want to be out in and about and take in everything that other people have done.
Yeah.
They're almost like these watchers, these like just roamers. And back in the day in society, some people were able to do that.
Yeah. And the thing is, our society's lack of value on something that isn't financial. Like I think there's cultural benefits to someone who's well traveled, who can tell you about this or knows a lot about whatever thing they're looking. If they're just roaming from art museum to art museum, they can tell you all this. Like that's valuable,
Yeah,
right?
that yeah, it has some kind of value to it. Yeah, it's just not worth anything in a society like ours.
Yeah,
And that's where the problem lies. And you have politics that get involved that criminalizes a lot of that stuff, or puts it in a negative light, like oh, you got to work to get along or whatever.
well that's why I talk about politics. It's like I truly want to get rid of these creepy, psychopathic establishment politicians. Get them out of the way.
Right,
Obviously, I don't mean violence. I just mean get them like I'd want to like, hey guys, I'll give you $1 billion. Just go live on some island somewhere. Don't bother with us. Like
right, just
I'm like willing to do that. Like here's $1 billion.
wow,
Go away.
wow. Yeah, man. I mean, did you have anything else that you wanted to bring up?
Uh, Nothing I can think of. Oh, did we talk about this already? Tulsi uh not doing the debate.
Oh yeah, so Tulsi Gabbard, yeah, she decided that either if she even if she qualifies for the debate, she's
Yeah.
going to not participate in it. Kind of speaks to the circus of it all. Like we were
Yeah.
saying, like it's really it doesn't really hurt her because she's been through this before, where she didn't appear in the debate, and then she kind of had a resurgence, and then she appeared in the debate.
Yeah.
So it's nothing new to her. But I mean, it just speaks to the polling corruption stuff, man, and like how we're whittling these people down for
Yeah.
arbitrary reasons. Nothing really like you know.
Yeah. Did you know about the there was one poll, I think it was out of Boston, that would have had Tulsi qualifying, and it was the same group that did the polling for them also did the polling for USA Today, but somehow the Boston one didn't count, and the USA Today didn't release theirs. So it's like, what the hell? I think
What?
it was a New Hampshire poll,
Yeah, she's doing
and
good in New Hampshire. Yeah, as far as like the other candidates.
and
But
like
I
the
think it's
Boston
just like the
Herald or something.
DNC. Yeah, I think it's just the DNC, wanting to whittle it down to the ones they like, so that the
Yeah,
candidates or the voters only have a small group of candidates to choose from, instead of just being like, well, we're just going to cover everyone fairly. Everyone's going to be fairly treated. And I mean,
yeah,
to a certain point, like even if I wanted to play devil's advocate, it's hard because if I'm the DNC, what fucking difference does it make if I have 20 candidates or two candidates? Like, I don't get that whole thing of just like, well, we have to have a process to whittle down the candidates. Like, certain people have to qualify. Other people we can't just swarm the stage with all these people. It's like, okay, well, maybe shift the way that you do it instead of having a fucking debate where people only get 1 minute.
yeah,
Maybe have discussions or maybe do like these, town hall, like table
yeah.
things over like 2 or 3 nights. Like you could shift that instead of fucking, doing what they're doing now, which is like arbitrarily picking for the voters. No, these are the
Yeah,
people you got to focus on.
yeah. It's like have a night where you talk about one specific topic, and
Right.
have another night where you talk about a different particular topic. Let them be like 2 hours long, and just go through. Normal. I say this on my channel a lot. I say dumb guy logic. It's like that's
Right.
simple dumb guy logic. Like, oh, why don't you just have them talk about one particular topic for a long period of time? Then people can get a sense of what these guys, what their policy is, rather than the 1 minute here, 1 minute there, 1 minute here. Here's a 30-second response. Okay, now next topic. It's like that's not helping anybody. So I end up just watching for the blood sport. I'm just like,
Yeah.
who's Tulsi gonna kneecap tonight?
And if Tulsi's not there, I don't expect Andrew Yang to come out like Tulsi does and take
Nah,
someone down. The best I'm hoping for with this debate is that Bernie goes after Pete Buttigieg or something. But with his friend thing, I don't know if he's gonna.
dude, that's why I was like, that's why my personal feeling is like, oh, Tulsi, you should go to the debate if you like qualify and shit. Because I just saw a video from the Hill talking about Mayor Pete Buttigieg, uh, working for the McKinsey Group, right?
Right.
And that has ties to Afghanistan.
Oof.
And those Afghanistan, the Washington Post article about Afghanistan came out. And it's like, dude, this is all like a perfect storm for you to end Pete Buttigieg right there.
Yeah, just like she did.
And
Yeah,
she's been known
Kamala.
for
Yeah.
that.
Mm-hmm.
She's
Yeah,
known for
she's got
that.
a kill list. But no, I think because I just did a video about how people shouldn't get down on like Tulsi not making the debates or people whittling away at Andrew Yang, because if you
Yeah,
think about it, like this is just one election cycle. Like politics goes on, life goes on, and this sentiment of people that, like you said, want change, that see that the system needs to be transformed in a way, that's still going to be there post election. Because if
yeah,
it's Biden, Trump's going to still stick around. If
yeah.
it's Bernie, there's a chance that Bernie might get elected and you see some of that change, flourish.
I think
But
Bernie routs him, by the way. I think Bernie destroys Trump in an election.
yeah, I mean, no, well, yeah, I think Bernie will do good, and I think he will beat Trump in the election because he's got that Rust Belt. He does really well with people there. So I think Tulsi does the same, and I think Yang would
Yeah,
probably also squeak it out against
yeah.
Trump. The people who I know will probably. I just think that here's my prediction, right? Just to kind of end on this, and I'm
Okay.
interested to hear your prediction. I think what's going to happen is it's going to get whittled down to Warren, Pete, Bernie, and Biden.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I think those are kind of the leading people That's just facts. And I
Yeah.
think what's going to happen is they're going to use Biden for New Hampshire and Iowa to slow down the Warren Bernie people,
Hmm.
and give Biden some breathing room so that he can come back in South Carolina. And because Buttigieg has no chance in South Carolina. Like he's got 0%. Fucking Delaney, John Delaney, who nobody knew was running, is still running. He gets more black support
Yeah.
than Pete Buttigieg, right? And so yeah, I think that that's where Pete's thing's gonna end. But they're just using him as a pawn right now. So because the mainstream media and the establishment, they're smarter than we think, bro. Like they have a fucking agenda. Like they know what they're
Oh,
doing
for
to an
sure.
extent. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
so and also the mainstream media. There's a reason why they're doing this blackout, because they know strategically if you don't talk about Bernie or if you don't talk about Yang or Tulsi, boom, they're just like clean
Yeah.
their hands of it. Like that's it. It's when they go after Bernie and Tulsi and Yang that they get a resurgence in their campaigns. And I think they're
Yeah.
picking up on that, and they're saying, "Oh, the best way to beat them is just ignore them, like they don't exist."
Yeah.
So, and I think that it's going to come down to Bernie and Biden, and I think Biden, if they take it all the way to the convention, then I think that this and the delegates kick in. If you watch where the delegates are kind of lining up, it's Bernie and Biden. Like those are the two that they're really lining up behind. And I think it's going to be a fight, and I think they might just give it to Biden. And I think that the older voters are going to be happy with that, and you're going to see a 2016 fucking rehash of it all. That's pessimistic of me. Obviously, I'm not hoping for that to happen, but I also realize like that they still have that power to do and sway it. But what's your prediction? Like, what do you think it's going to come down to?
All right. I can like 100% see your scenario playing out like damn near exactly. Just want to
Right.
say that first. But I also want to be like hopeful.
Yeah.
So I think I don't know, somehow the people rise up at the caucuses, they fucking make the most noise and all that shit, and somehow Bernie gets a nomination and he just routs Trump. I think it's a blowout. I think Trump and Bernie get into it when they get to the debate
Mm-hmm.
stage, and it's
Ooh,
like you have an
that
hour and a half to deal with Bernie Sanders. You have no policy. You already went back on all the shit you promised.
and I
You're
hope he
done
calls him
for.
out on that too. Like you
You
said,
bet.
everybody was gonna have health care. Didn't you lied about that? You said that we were gonna end Afghanistan and Iraq. Now you're in Syria protecting Saudi Arabia's oil interests. You know, I just hope he
Bernie,
doesn't.
yeah,
Yeah, I hope Bernie doesn't get manipulated into making this impeachment thing, where he brings up like him and the Ukraine, because I think that's a losing talking point.
agreed.
But I think you're right, man. I think that the hopeful outcome is Bernie clinches Iowa because of his massive young supporters who the polling isn't and that's something we didn't touch on, but the polling doesn't the polling goes off of who previously voted, who are the most likely Democrats to vote, and it's obviously older voters.
Yeah.
And then the way they do the voting thing, I've never gotten a call for like my opinion, you know what I mean?
Aren't they doing like landlines or
Yeah, there's
something
still
like
some of
that?
them are still doing landless. I think like YouGov and some of the fresher ones do online polling sometimes, but the DNC doesn't recognize those because it's
Yeah.
online. So they're like, nah. Which is like the one that's going to be more accurate is probably the online one instead of the fucking landline ones.
Especially for the younger vote, for
Exactly,
sure.
but they don't account for the younger vote. So you might be right. It might be a blowout where, boom, Iowa, Bernie takes it. Caucus goes. Because if you think about how the caucus works, um, there's rounds to it. So if like the Tulsi Krats and the Yang gang go in, and then Bernie's leading or whatever, so they go to the second round, then they
Yeah.
have an opportunity at the caucus to bring in that Tulsi group and that Yang group, and that's the way caucuses work. And that's why I fucking tell people, man, all right, keep Sam, fucking Michael, Emma, keep doing it. You're gonna regret it. You're gonna fucking regret it because when the caucus comes and those Tulsi-crats are fucking on the fence because they weren't able to bring in 50% into the caucus room or whatever when they do that.
Yeah.
Um, your people are gonna have a hard time. Like, oh, come on, guys, like, come over to the Bernie side, and you have
Oh,
the
they're
Warren
not. They're
people
not.
come.
They're not going to listen to those. They're going to listen to like Kyle Kalinske, Jimmy Dore, like those type. They'll listen to them though. They're not.
Yeah, I think that.
I don't
Yeah.
think. I don't think Tulsi fans are
Well,
for like fuck Bernie. They're not in that camp. I don't think. I think
no,
they're
I don't
like
think so
fuck
either.
these certain Bernie supporters that say shit.
No, yeah, I understand, but and then that's what I'm saying is that people will listen to that. Those kind of insults to the Tulsi people and everything like that. And when those Tulsi
Yeah.
voters go to those caucuses and the Bernie
Uh
voters are there, they might be a little more hesitant, and it might be harder for the Bernie fans who are at the caucuses
okay.
to bring them in on round 2 or round 3 so that they can overwhelm the Warren camp and the Biden camp with Tulsi fans and voters and Tulsi fan or Yang fans and voters. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
that's why I say be cautious to listen more to the Kyle Kalinske people instead of the Sam Cedars and stuff as Bernie fans, so that you can say, oh, the way the caucuses work is we're going to need those people. We need each other. So you need to build those alliances and coalitions so that Bernie can sweep Iowa, sweep New Hampshire, because New Hampshire he's got in the bag. I mean,
Yeah.
independents are allowed to vote in New Hampshire, and it's right by Vermont. So I think he's going to sweep New Hampshire, no problem.
Yeah.
I think he also has a good chance to win Nevada, or at least come in a very close second in Nevada.
Yeah.
And
He's
then
up there,
yeah, and in
but
California, man, if he takes Iowa, New Hampshire, I think it's a done deal right there already, because that momentum is just going to carry over to Nevada, put him over in Nevada, and then the momentum from those 3 states when California and Super Tuesday come along, done deal,
yeah.
wrap it the fuck up. Like it's, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
let's hope that it's your scenario, man. Let's hope that Bernie, because I'm still a fan of. I might be like a Tulsi fan or whatever, but I still, Bernie. I just would really hope that he changed on a lot of issues. But I guess that's a good ending point because it's on a positive note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Definitely my apologies to everybody for that interruption. You know how YouTube be. Um, and yeah.
Don't
Uh,
apologize to them. How
oh
dare
yeah.
you?
Fuck.
They're our
Man,
slaves.
fuck YouTube. But anyways, man, yeah, shout out to your channel, the Yellow Brick Road on YouTube. If you guys are watching, go check out his channel. Really great stuff he puts out. I enjoyed the philosophical discussion, man. You can follow Jordan at YellowBro or YellBRo on
Yo,
Twitter.
bro.
And I know you have a GoFundMe campaign. Why don't you kind of tell us a little bit about that, just to kind of end the live stream?
All right. So the GoFundMe that we promote at the beginning and end of every video I do is for one of our subscribers. We know him as Pyramid7, and his wife Devon, who had had a stroke, a serious one, to where she had to do the whole rehab and everything, basically learn how to walk again, essentially. And we thought, he told us about it, and I'm like, okay, dude, I'm gonna be promoting this every video I do, make sure everyone knows about it, just so that if someone's just passing by and they hear about it and they're like, oh, okay,
Yeah,
I'll donate a little money here or there. So it goes to a good cause. We don't make any money off of it, obviously,
yeah, no,
and
that's great.
it's called Devon's Journey to Recovery. You should be able to find the GoFundMe link in any one of our videos
Yeah, shoot
in
me
the
over the
description
link.
box.
You can shoot me over the link. I'll make sure that it's on the description box for both the live streams. Unfortunately, it was cut up into 2 videos, but I'll drop that link down in the description below, everybody, so you guys can have a direct link when you watch this video to the GoFundMe. That's
Thank you,
definitely
man.
great, man. You guys are doing good work out there, and keep it up. And I would love to have you on sometime. And yeah, man, just keep up what you're doing, and I'll try to share some of your videos. I'll definitely give you your support.
Thank you, man. You will get the YellBRo bump. How about that?
Awesome. Yeah.
Pause.
All right.
Pause on it.
All right, man. All right. Well,
All right.
definitely take it easy. Stick around here after the live show so we can kind of have a little chat. But everybody else, I'm gonna end the live stream here. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and smash the like button because it really helps this channel grow. And if you follow news and politics, I would really appreciate your subscription. All right. Peace out.